This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago.
This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Welcome
Chicago.
to
Doors open
Chicago.
on the left
Of course it's
at
on Lou.
Chicago.
Of course it's on Lou. I hear his wife is so good. Oh, StreamYard, thank you so much. Welcome to Chicago. Coming from the 606 Media Studios, this is the TCSF podcast with Big Z in the house. We got Ivan, the bearer of both of them. The Tape Never Lies and Local Sports Tonight with Ivan. Episode 217 is brought to you by 606 Media, true Chicago sports fans, and Grit Clothing Company. Don't forget to go to gritclothingco.com and get your official TCSF podcast t-shirt. Search for keyword True Chicago and use our promo code TrueFan15 for 15% off your entire order. That is TrueFan15. Go and get your shirts now. And if you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or the X, hit that subscribe button, hit that 5-star review, and you can drop off some courteous words and shoot us up on the charts. We greatly appreciate that. And if you can drop some coin, go over to anchor.fm/True Chicago Sports Fans and go over there and click on support and subscribe for as little as 99 cents a month. Cheaper than any cup of coffee you may be drinking. And if you haven't done so, subscribe to this show. Subscribe to Imposicated with Big Z, the podcast where we do a deep dive into guest live stories. And episodes are engaging discussions, interviews, fascinating guests. I mean, I still have one in the can I got to finish this week. I really got to get into it. And we got No Water on the Weekend with Steven and Sean, a pop culture forward podcast that was in funny trivia, film, television, music, and Chicago-centric news. And don't forget about Local Sports Tonight with Ivan. He'll be back on it very soon as he stops working those 14 jobs that he's doing, working like a hard Mexican over there. And we'll get to Ivan's show back hopefully soon. And without further delay, episode 217, What's the Play? This live episode, me and Ivan are going to talk about, Chicago sports. We're going to start off with what's going on with the MLB Playoffs. We'll talk about the Cubs. We'll talk about the White Sox. And we'll finish off with the Bulls. But let's get started. What's been a very, very exciting MLB playoffs. In the last round, we had the Yankees defeat the Guardians of Cleveland, and the Dodgers take out the Grimace free Mets because Grimace was not around for that series. So, Ivan, what was your interpretation of the last two playoff series? It's been a wonderful time to watch them.
Just fun baseball. Our teams aren't in it, obviously. So just being able to sit back and say, hey, look, this is what good baseball looks like. You know what I mean? This is what playoff baseball teams look like. It's obvious. Obviously, it's kind of bittersweet because you're like, oh, this is pretty badass. That you could see Ohtani and you could see, Juan Soto and Stanton and Judge and you got Betts and you could see all these guys out there. And to me, as a fan, I'm just like, all right, just take it in because your team's not there. You don't have to stress about anything. But on the other side of things, I'm just like, hey, you got the marquee matchup. You got the matchup that MLB or if people want to say MLB wanted, which I'm sure MLB did. Like why wouldn't you? Yeah. But maybe the rest of baseball hates. Regardless, you have the marquee matchup of all baseball of all time. I mean, Yankees Dodgers it transcends decades, dude. Like I mean, it's always been the marquee matchup. I feel like in baseball. I mean, you could say about other things, Yankees and Red Sox, but like that Yankees Dodgers was always like back in the day. It was always neck and neck. They're always in the World Series against each other, and you're coming out from the same city. You're always in the same. You had stars out there. Robinson. You had Duke Snyder, and I'm young, but I'm talking about older stuff just because like I've been into that. I'm a nerd like that. I'll read and I'll listen to stuff like that about old baseball because it's like it makes it feel good, that nostalgia. But regardless, getting back to the topic, this is a all important matchup, I feel like, for baseball, because you have, like I said, you have the biggest markets in your country. You have the biggest stars in baseball. Like, let's be real. Like, you have probably the biggest stars going for you guys right now in all of baseball. I mean, obviously, some guys aren't there because your teams didn't make it, but this is what you would want. This is a Super Bowl, like a World Series. I don't know how to like market that. I would say this is a World Series that should be dominating. It's not going to dominate because people hate like the two teams, but this should be a top end World Series as far as views and marketing and media is concerned.
For baseball, I really think that it is going to be, if you're a baseball nerd, a savant, a person who's always had baseball engraved into your blood, it's going to be, Lakers versus Celtics, essentially. It is that rivalry of Dodgers versus Yankees. They both started in New York, one in the Bronx and one in Brooklyn, right? And then the Dodgers moved over to LA, and then LA's always been in it, but never been able to achieve the success of the Yankees until lately. We've seen what the Dodgers have been doing, and now we'll finally get there. And everyone puts the asterisk on a 2020 championship. At the end of the day, you still have to play the same amount of games in the playoffs, and they won their championship. So you can't take that away from them. They still got a ring. They got a trophy. It is what it is, right? But like you said, this is the superstars of MLB, literally on two teams. There's so many superstars, which you got Mookie Betts and Max Muncy, and you got Shohei on one side, who finally, the best person in baseball, the best player in baseball, has made it to the World Series. And on the other side of New York, Judge has finally made it to the World Series. He's always been hurt or been eliminated a little too early. You're going to get what you wanted. Now, we all know how baseball goes, right? It's supposed to be a spectacular. Watch it be nothing but pitching dominance. 2-1, 1-0. And it happens. That's baseball, but it's going to be exciting. I don't think it's going to be a blowout like the Mets and Dodgers series where it was lopsided to one team or the other. I think the Cleveland versus New York series was very entertaining because it was back and forth. It was home run after home run, late innings, and comeback after comeback, and it was well. What really, really is concerning to me as a Dodger fan is the pitching matchup. You guys not you guys, but the Yankees have a better pitching staff that's equipped for the postseason, where you've seen in the last game with the Dodgers, they went to a bullpen game and were able to use the offense to get out of it. So again, multiple stars on both sides. It should be exciting. It's what MLB wanted, and it's the two teams that America hates.
Right. And like I said, regardless of that, like, everybody's gonna watch. They're gonna hate watch this. They're gonna hate watch this series, dog. Because of the star power that you have. And like, just like you mentioned, Jose, like, when have we had the best player? Like, how many times have we had the best player in the game? How many times did Griffey go to a World Series?
0.
How many times did Bonds go to a World Series? Once.
Yeah,
right.
With the Giants. Yeah,
with the Giants, right? So, like, we could go on and on and on. Like, we could go on with some of the greatest players of all time not being even scratching the surface of the World Series. You know what I mean? But for me, like, I'm gonna watch. I'm 100% gonna watch because
dialed in Friday, baby, Friday night.
Because we've been talking, like, baseball has needed something like this. Like, I felt like the star power wise, where you could see all these top player bets, Micah Freeman, Juan Soto. Like I mentioned it before, so you're good. You're getting a chance to see the top end guys that have become like some of the faces of the game. So it's a plus for Major League Baseball. Now, whether baseball fans want to admit it or not, like anybody outside of New York or LA, this is a good thing for baseball. This is a positive series for baseball. It's what I have loved to see in the another miracle Mets. Yeah, that'd have been dope. That'd
nice
have been
Cinderella
dope.
story.
Yeah, what I would love to see, Grimace out there, like in the World Series. Yeah, that'd have been fucking wild. But
If the Mets win, everybody gets Big Macs.
yeah, exactly. So, like, it would have been dope. But this is what baseball needed, I think. The star power, the market, the two markets, the top two markets in the country. You couldn't ask for anything better for the league. But like I said, there's baseball has its story of baseball isn't done. There will be chapters of the underdogs winning it, but right now it's for the juggernauts. Right now is for the big dogs, and they deserved it. They won. That's all I have to say. I'll kind of remember when TCU got in the national championship, everybody kind of like hated it. Like, no, they won. They did what they had to do, and it happened that way. So, like, you can't hate on the guys for winning. Yeah, they got all the stars, but sometimes all the stars doesn't equate to championships, man. You've seen that, and I've seen that.
Yeah, and and the reason people hate these two teams is because they buy players. And you know what? If this was your team, you would be super ecstatic. If the White Sox, for whatever reason, went over and started buying players left and right, top tier players, and
they got Machado. Oh, they got Harper.
Right.
It would have been like, who gives a shit? You know what I mean? Like,
come hate it. I bring down the hate, brother. Bring on the hate. Right? The Cubs, they've done that where they brought in big names, and they did it for the World Series, right? They brought in Lester, the guy with the big teeth that he came here for. What is it? A shave and a something. What was your guy's name?
Cup of coffee.
I'm here for a cup of coffee and a shave or something. What he said, but you got out and bought some players. You went over and got a Aroldis Chapman.
You went about John Lackey.
John Lackey with the teeth, right?
John Lackey.
Yeah, you went over there and you bought players, and you know when I mean bought players, you traded for them or you signed them. You did what you have to do to put you over. You had the young kids that were emerging. They were coming through. All right, we need some veterans to push us over in the playoffs, because in the playoffs it is all about the veterans. Those are happy-go-lucky kids that they've showed out in August and September. That doesn't really translate when it comes to the World Series. And there's some stories I know, like the kid that just came up in August for the Dodgers. He won the MVP for the series, but he's no Juan Soto. That's the guy you depend on every single game to go out there and win you games. So, like, for me, it does not bother me that these teams I know I'm a fan of the Dodgers, but doesn't bother me if teams go out there and show you they want to win. You know why? Because my team, the White Sox, does not do that. The Cubs will do that in spurts, and then they'll regress and not spend anything. And it's bad for Chicago because it is the third largest market. We should be playing with the big boys, like the NWO, baby. This is where the big boys come to play. That's what they should be doing. That's exactly what it should be doing. They should be bring on Hogan and Nash and Skaha. Right, exactly. That's right. Get Macho Man, Randy Savage, and beat up on Sting. Let's go. We're going to wrestling podcast now. Let's do this. I mean, we've got to
wrestling podcast.
That's not a bad idea. We got to be doing this. It's really, really something that the Chicago market needs to be doing, because we, as a Chicago fan base, are starved. We've had one World Series in the last 10 years, 15 years. What's it? 2016. So 8 years. One. That's the only championship we've got. We can count the Sky. I'm sorry, Sky. Chicago Sky. I'm sorry. 2 championships. What are we, Cleveland?
Mm-hmm.
It's despicable. Yankees and Dodgers have met a couple times. I believe they met in, let's see, I got them in the 63. Wow, they've got a historical 56 World Series. Yankees win 4-3. 63 World Series, Dodgers win sweep 4-0. 77 World Series, Yankees 4-2. 78 World Series, 4-2 Yankees. 81 World Series, Dodgers 4-2. So there is some history here. Unfortunately, it's 40-year plus history, but this is what you wanted. 2 teams that spent the most amount of money, that do that, year after year, and they develop talent as well. And I'm excited. There's some White Sox on both teams. You got Carlos Rodon, and I think Clue KH Clue. He's a relief pitcher. KHULE.
Cool.
We cool. Yeah, we had him
Cool.
for a while. Yeah, we put him up there. We
Which is-
DFA'd somebody,
Which
and
is
he's up there with the
which is
Yeah, go ahead.
fucking. I know we're talking. I know we haven't switched over to.
Yeah.
You know, actually, I'll wait. I'll continue.
Okay.
I'll continue. I'll wait.
No,
because,
yeah. Go ahead. We got Kopech, who was a head case apparently here, who could not pitch. He couldn't get out of his own shoes, tie his own shoes on the mound, always getting hurt. He goes over there and he's given up maybe 2 runs in all of his appearances, except the playoff. I think he gave up 3 runs the other day. But he's been lights out with a winning organization, with Mark Pryor saying, dude, you have electric stuff. This is how you use it. This is how you use analytics, right? Because the analytics on the White Sox is coming up on toilet paper. That's how bad their analytics.
Did we lose you, Jose?
There we go. We're back.
Okay. I was like, and they're what?
So what's your prediction for the World Series then?
Man, don't hate me.
I'm not.
I think it's going to be the Yankees. I think it's going to the Yankees in part because I don't trust the Dodger pitching.
Yeah.
Talking to some friends, it's like that definitely watch more baseball than I. Like it's going to be tough for the for the Dodgers if they get into a situation where the bats are cold for whatever reason or another to overcome pitching that's hot, right? Like let's say the Yankees come in and they're just dealing. It's going to be tough to overcome that, especially if you don't have the arms to go ahead and keep you in the ball game and match what their pitchers are doing. So it's like, for me, I just feel like the Yankees right now, I think they got the momentum. I think that obviously the money's with the Dodgers. I just think the Yankees have a lot of momentum, and I think they got some better pitching up to this point. We'll see. I'm choosing the Yankees, but we'll see. To me, I just hope it's a 7-game series. That would be a
definitely a 7-game series. To your point, the Yankees do have the better starting pitching. I mean, the Dodgers have Yamamoto, Flaherty, Buehler, and then Knack. The problem is, they lost Kershaw, and I know Kershaw has been up and down in the playoffs, but he's still a stud to have out there. Where you have the Yankees who have Rodon and Garrett Cole. Who else do they have? Rotation. Oh boy, excuse me. They just announced Garrett Cole to start pitching game 1. Looking at their depth chart for pitchers. Come on, where's my pitchers? Where's my pitchers? Why have I lost? Oh, Garrett Cole, Carlos Rodon, Clark Schmidt, Louis Gill, Marcus Stroman. Your 5th pitcher is Marcus Stroman, former Cub, Marcus Stroman.
That's what I'm saying. You're probably not leading with Marcus Stroman. That's what I'm saying. You got a 3-4 man type of rotation if that's where you're going to go with. So you're looking at Marcus Stroman coming out of the bullpen,
right?
You know what I mean? Like you're looking at quality arms in the back, like that you could use in case of emergency.
Right.
Like,
and you'll have Mark Leiter Jr., former Cub, Mark Leiter Jr., who you guys gave up for nothing. Tommy Canley is the one I was talking about. You've got some arms in the bullpen. If Marcus Stroman's coming out of the bullpen, he's coming out lights out.
I mean, I would hope so. I won't jump to that conclusion right now. I would say it would benefit them because he's going to come out of the bullpen throwing heat. You're right. He's going to be energetic. There's going to be a spark. Whether he pitches lights out, that's to be seen yet. But the energy, the jump in velocity or the jump in energy is definitely going to be there for the Yankees. I just think that if the Dodgers are going to keep the Yankees, keep with, in pace, they're going to have to get to the pitching staff early. They're going to have to put up the same type of runs that they've been putting up all year, big numbers. Like you're if you play, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. They're a big hitting ball club. They have the big boys. They got big bats. And same with the Yankees. The difference is that they got the pitching that I feel like is a little more trustworthy at this point. I just, we'll see. Like, I don't think the Mets should have even been that close in the series. And, lo and behold, the pitching it was part of the issue.
Right. All right. So you've got the Yanks. I got the Dodgers. I hope it does go to Game 7, and I hope it's a slugfest in Game 7. I hope it's a home run contest. Let's see. That's what I want.
Give us a Cubs Indians set Game 7, like something like that. Give us something that's like everybody's like the whole country's like, wow, that was a fucking fantastic World Series. Because regardless, like I know a Cubs fan, obviously, but regardless of what you say, if I was just a baseball fan watching that World Series, I would have been like, oh my god, like this is amazing. The storylines on both sides, obviously the Cubs, but in this one, you have like I said, you have the big boys, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have the marquee names that are out there, but I'd still like to see that same type of drama throughout the series.
Definitely. All right, let's switch over to your favorite team, the Chicago Cubs. They're rumored to be targeting some high-profile free agents to bolster both the pitching and the staff and lineup. However, there's also talk of the team may look forward to a more creative, low-cost options. Let's hope they don't take that route, the White Sox route. So I'm expecting a lot of activity from this team in this winter. Jed Hoyer and the front office have a lot to work on too. The biggest thing we're going to first got to talk about is Cody Bellinger. Is he opting in or opting out right after the World Series? What do you think?
Oh, he's in. He's not going anywhere. It benefits him. You know what I mean? It's why would he?
$27.5 million if he opts in.
Yeah, he's in. Like,
he had an off year.
You could say that, and then if he goes ahead and has a bounce back, he go find another deal. If he ends up leaving the Cubs, which I'm sure he will after this next season, but no, he's opting in. The thing is how are you going to sell being cheap or stagnant to the fan base this time? Because you've been selling this idea of like, oh, it's coming, like here we come, like we're about to turn it around, we want to win again, and this season wasn't it. You made it seem like we were going to be all right this season, and we're going to be able to compete, and we weren't able to because we just had, you could say injuries, but I think there was a lack of continuity in the clubhouse because you just fired your manager, just got a new manager. I'm not saying that Craig Counsell is like a detriment to the clubhouse, but
you can't say that. Cleveland had a rookie manager. The Mets had a rookie manager.
I get that. I understand that, but like the way that he got fired, right? The way that it came about, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure that affects people. Like you just boom, all of a sudden, all right, now I got to read. Regardless of that, like I'm not making it. Oh, it was because they have the new manager. I'm just saying that's a part of the effect. You can't allow this team with said new manager to not grow personnel wise, to not give him everything he needs, because you invested so much in him. You're pretty much saying he's going to win us the World Series. So if you don't go ahead and get him the bullpen arms, you don't go ahead and get him that big lefty bat that we fucking need, hey, guess what? We could have had for $10 million fucking dollars in Kyle Schwarber and worked out another contract, because Kyle Schwarber is a guy that's in the middle of the Phillies lineup and will be in the middle of anybody's fucking lineup for his entire career. He's exactly. He's let up for us. You know what I'm saying? So it's like Jed has the biggest like spotlight on him right now. If Jed can't fucking bring in players, the issue is Jed, and Jed has to go.
Is he on a hot seat this year?
Oh, there's no question. There shouldn't be a doubt. There shouldn't be a doubt unless him and the fucking owners are at an agreement. Like, oh, we're just gonna cheap our way out until we find that perfect striking point. Like, I just don't see how you can justify or continue to spew the same bullshit over and over when there's no hope. When the fan base can see that you're not actively going after the top talent to put us over the top and beat a team like the Dodgers, like the fucking Yankees, like the Cardinals, like the Mets, like all these teams are surpassing you, and they've been surpassing you since you've won the World Series. And you made some bad choices and investments. I get that, but that time has now passed. You've recouped. You can't point to Jason Hayward's contract anymore. So it's time to fucking act. It's time to go ahead and get top end players in here, whether it be, and I feel like if you get a few pieces, this team is completely different. It's completely different, especially with a manager like Craig Counsell.
And I agree with you. I felt like, he came in there and saying, no wonder the last coach couldn't do anything. You don't give him any tools. If you got a broken alternator and all you're giving is a flathead screwdriver, some bubble gum and a paper clip, you're not MacGyver. You can't fix this stuff, And it was impossible situation for him to come in and be like, oh, we spent all this money. We spent $40 million on a manager and nothing else. Nothing else.
You can't even be McGruber with that.
Good call.
I'm serious. You can't even be McGruber. Like, you have to give him. You have to be able to give your manager the opportunity to manage top talent. And I get it. Like, you have this idea of, hey, we're gonna build through the farm system. I love that idea. That's perfect. That's good. That's a good idea. But sometimes you got to fucking spend in order to get your team over the edge. And I don't. I'm afraid. That I'm going to go in here with an expectation, and my expectations are going to be shot down once again because they either can't get a deal done with somebody or they're being too cheap to go ahead and pull them in. So we'll see. Jed is on the hot seat 100%.
Yeah, and it's I'm looking at the future payroll for the Chicago Cubs. You got Swanson leading at 28 million. You got Suzuki at 19 million. Hendricks is coming off your books. That's 16.5 coming off the books, which is great. Tyon at 18 million. Hap at 21 million. Nico Horner, 11.5 million. Nico Horner just had surgery on his elbow. So we don't know how he's going to come back. Bellinger, we talked about where he has a player option. Looks he probably, if he opts in, I think he gets a $2.5 million kicker. Shota Maga, 13.25. Drew Smiley looks like he gets a 2.5 million kicker. So he's probably making 11 million. Bodie, how is this man still on this team? He'll be making about 6.51 million. And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 players that will be under arbitration, which means you have to negotiate what they were making because they were on their rookie contract making minimum wage. So based on their performance, it gets, there's comps versus what position, and then they say how much you're going to get paid. So some of those notable ones are going to be, Picoro Armstrong. I know he's pre-arbitration. You got your Michael Bush, your Maya, your Assad. Let's see what was on him. I can't believe you still have Madrigal on your team. And some of you guys can be released, and some of them will be released. Patrick Wisdom, I didn't even know he's still on the team. Was that the guy who gets all the coffee for the team? I mean, I don't know who he is.
Patrick Wisdom, he's the former first-round pick who could hit a ton, but doesn't hit a ton a lot. You know what I mean? Like, he'll hit a ton sometimes. He's a good pinch, I guess, off the bench pinch hitter if you need somebody to come in and maybe you need somebody to deliver a home run or even a threat of a home run. But he's not an everyday guy. He's not. To me, he's not. Shouldn't even be on the roster.
No.
To me, that experience is done. That
Right.
experiment
If
is done.
he's not a winning player for your 2025 Cubs, that's going to put you in the playoffs and not the first round, but the second and above. He is not the guy you want. So you're talking about, do you keep Bodie?
Why?
Right. Why?
Yeah.
Why? Exactly. Isaac Paradas, who you traded for?
Oh yeah. I mean, he's like
He's a utility player, right? He plays everything.
He plays third base. Like he would play third base every single day, and I'd be happy with the defense probably. Whether he delivers on offense, I don't. He was all right. Like I just need to see more. My biggest thing is you need to upgrade at first. I think that as far as
Do you put Bellinger at first, and then you have an all-star defensive lineup with Picard Armstrong and who else is there? Shota Maga. I'm sorry, not Shota Maga. Suzuki. Sorry, and who's the other one? And Hap. Right. That's a great defense.
I'm fine with that outfield. I mean, I'm all right with Bellinger at first. I'm all right with Bellinger at first. Who's DHing?
That's gonna be crickets. You need that's what you don't have.
You need that power bat that either is gonna play first, and you could have Bellinger DH or Bellinger plays first, and that guy DH. That guy DHs. So there's going to still be a need for a big bat in that lineup. I would love for him. I would love for Pete Alonso to be there, whether it be a righty or a lefty. It looks like Mike Evans is going to be done for a while. That doesn't look good.
Yeah.
But yeah, to me, you still need to add, regardless of what you do with Bellinger. My concern isn't the guys that are on the team. So my concern is the guys that aren't on the team, because you need to add. It's clear as day. You need to find somebody that's going to be there to be reliable at the back end of the bullpen. And you need to find more, you need to find that big bat. It's pretty much what we've been saying about the Cubs for the past couple seasons. And they haven't been able to do it, whether it be because they can't get the deal done or they don't want to get the deals done, or they're just, they're waiting for what have you, the right opportunity to strike. I don't know. I don't know what it is with them.
I'm looking at potential replacements for the Cubs here. There's not much. I mean, catchers, you do need a catcher. You're going to get a Band-Aid right now because there's not any good catchers out there that you would want. I don't know. Let's see. You got Danny Jansen who's out there. Travis Arnaud, it's too old, 36. Let's see. Carson Kelly, no. I know you don't want Grandal. Austin Hedges, he's 32. I mean, none of these guys have a bat. James McCann, he can call a game. He's 35, but his bat is non-existent. Yan Gomes, you've already went through that. Austin Barnes, probably not. Tucker Bernhardt, 34. Over on Narvaez, Jesus, he's still in the league. He's 33. I thought he was 43.
We already had Barnhart.
Yeah, you already had Barnhart. Martin Maldonado, 38. No.
Nope.
Right.
No,
so that's it. There's really everyone else is like 36 and above. You don't want them.
So you got Betancourt and you got Amaya. Those are your catchers. That's hey man, like Amaya came on late in the in the season. The bat started to come around after a miserable start. I think you're there. You have Amaya, you have Betancourt. If you have another catcher out, down there in the minors that you might bring up instead of Betancourt, we'll figure that out once spring training comes along. But yeah, Amaya's your starter. Like you're not there's no way of getting around that because of what you just laid out as far as free agents are concerned.
Yeah.
No, Miguel Amaya, and you have to continue to build around the pitching staff and add a thumper. Like you have to go put your nuts out there, Jed. You have to let him fucking swing. I don't give a shit if you give Juan Soto. My guy's Juan Soto. Give him the Zachary Hotel. Give him part ownership. Give him half of Gallagher Way. I don't care. Give him the Budweiser, the bar. I don't give him the Cubby Bear and Sluggers. Whatever you have to do, get Juan Soto here. I don't care if he owns half of Wrigleyville after he signs.
It could be Addison and Soto instead of Addison and Clark.
Edison and Soto sounds amazing. We could change Clark to Soto. I'm down with that. Like, just bring Juan here. There's no need to pussyfoot around the deal. I'm talking about Bobby Bonilla deferred money. Talking about Shohei Ohtani deferred money. Make sure that motherfucker's here. Make sure he's here.
I mean,
he's young enough still to dominate for a decade. You know what I'm saying? He's young enough still to God willing, he's healthy, to be an impact for over a decade, 26. Like a decade more. 26. 26. There's guys that are playing till they're 30, 38, 39, 40.
Even if you give him a 10-year deal, even if you give him a 10-year, that's 36. You know the back end is going to suck. But even those first 5 years.
Even if he can't play outfield at a certain point, you're going to find him first base. You're going to find him DH. His bat is the biggest thing, dude. Like
14.2 WAR.
You have to be able to bring him in.
That's insane. He can win you 14.2 games a season.
I'm telling you,
wins above replacement.
Give him the Zachary. Give him the Cubby Bear Sluggers. What do we have? What else is down there?
We'll throw in some output wings.
Give him the output. We could go. Shit.
What's up, Izzy?
What else? Murphy's. Go ahead. Give him Murphy's too. Like, we'll throw in Murphy's. Part of Murphy. Like, just bring Juan in some way somehow. Give
Murphy's and Soto's, or Soto's and Murphy's.
Yeah, Soto's. We'll call it Soto's from now on.
Okay.
Soto's, that's what he wants. We just want Soto here, some way somehow.
So if obviously you would prefer having Soto, especially with that WAR, but let's say, obviously you're going to be in a bidding war. Hopefully the Cubs are in a bidding war for Juan Soto, but option number 2 would have to be Peter Alonso, especially with that hole at first base. 30 years old. His WAR, I think, was 8 point something. First base. 6 point. Oh, where is he at? Peter Alonso, 5.0 WAR. I'll still take that. That's 5 games. You would have made the playoffs. You would have made the playoffs with him. And then you look at your DHs. You say you need big bats. Well, there's a bunch of them. Marcelo Zuna, 34 years old. If I know they're not going to drop his option, but if he became available, you would have that. I think Jock Peterson, too old, done. JD Martinez, too old, done. McCutchen, too done. Eloy, you can get him for a bag of chips.
Nope.
Moncada.
No.
Hey, he plays a wonderful third.
All the X-White Sox. We can get all the X-White Sox. Oh God. What have we come to?
No, man.
DH Marcelo Zuna. All right,
that's if he becomes available. He's over there, yeah.
As a DH, Atlanta. I would love Marcelo. He was a thorn in our side for a little bit.
Yeah.
Marcelo Zuna as a DH wouldn't be bad.
Yeah.
Pete Alonso as that number 2 focus, 100%. You just have to be able to throw money at these guys. Like, regardless of who it is, somebody's got to be a big bet has to be coming into Wrigley. And if it is Marcelo Zuna, that's not enough for me.
No,
Marcelo Zuna is not the target. I'm talking about a marquee. You have Juan Soto. Just signing him alone makes the whole offseason about the Cubs and what they're doing.
Yeah. It could put you in contender conversation right away. It shows, like you said,
you have interest in other guys that want to come play for the Cubs now because Juan Soto is going to be playing with them. What are the Cubs doing? The Cubs are trying to strike. The Cubs are trying to win a World Series. That gets guys interested. That gets guys wanting to sign with your ball club.
Yep. Let's look over to the pitching side. You got Corbin Burns, Garrett Cole, Blake Snell, Michael Walker, Freddie Peralta, Max Fried, Jack Flaherty, Jordan Montgomery, which you had. I know you guys don't want Justin Verlander. Too little, too late. Sean Manaea. Let's see who else is. Nope. Shane Bieber, Max Scherzer, Patrick Corbin, Jose Quintana, No. Don't want to do that. Nope. I think we'll stop right there. Maybe Lucas Giolito. Again, the former White Sox. That's about it. I mean, any names that stick out that you would want there? Drew Smiley. No, Israel. We do not need Drew Smiley. We didn't smile enough.
No. If I'd never see Drew Smiley again, it'd be too soon. No, I have no interest. I don't know. I just they're talking about Evaldi. I saw a rumor about Evaldi. Might be a
Mhm.
target. Yeah, I think their pitching staff is fine overall. If you're talking about bolstering up the back end, okay. I mean the starting pitching. I mean their starting pitching is fine overall. I feel like, but it's the bullpen that's my biggest concern. Now
Okay.
you could say, oh yeah, we need to get healthy, and we're finding guys now that are coming up, and all right, that might be the case. You still need to throw dollars at this thing, dude. Like you still need to be able to bring in some big name talent that has been there, done that, and that can, either dominate for you or take over, take over an inning, stop an inning, stop a losing streak,
Yep.
give you that 3-run home run when you need it, put that pressure on a pitcher. Like those are the type of players that you need. One on the pitching side and one on the batting side, and then you could go ahead and work deals the rest of the way around. But you need to be able to get a big name guy one way or the other this offseason.
Yeah, I mean the things with bullpens that they're so finicky because you do have you can have the names and they just won't show up. We've seen that multiple times. You've actually had David Robinson. We had David Robinson. Chapman's pitching, I think, in Cincinnati or
Yeah,
where's he?
Cincinnati.
Is
Is it
no,
Cincinnati? Yeah, I
Kansas
think
City.
he's
Kansas City.
Kansas. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in Kansas City. I mean, uh, Kenley Jansen. No, I mean, Aaron Bummer. He has a club option. He's always been dependable. But then there's a bunch of names out here that we don't know and some that we do, but they're the ones we do are old, like Craig Kimbrell. Nobody wants him. You had him. We had him. Andrew Cheffin. We had him. You had him. Jesus Christ. Will Smith. Would too old. Jesse Chavez. He's been on every MLB team. I think it was like the last time we counted was 18 or 19 teams he's been on. Tommy
He's
Canley is
only
one of
good
the
on the Giants. Chavez is
yeah,
only good on the Giants.
yeah. He went back and he's
He's
just stud
lights
again.
out with the Giants.
Right. Yeah, there's really no names on here that would be of consideration to talk about just because bullpen arms are so finicky and really it depends on the whole of the bullpen. Not one arm can define a bullpen. It's a combination of guys, and you got to have guys that are middle relief, long relief, your 7th, 8th, your setup guys, and then your closer. So again, that's the perfect storm, and we've seen what bullpens can do, especially we saw that with the Cubs, where they had the worst bullpen at the beginning of the season. Then they turned it around, had one of the best bullpens. Again, they can get on a roll just like the offense can. Let's see what's in the chat right now. Can we get Jason Hayward back? Absolutely not. Michael Kopech, I think he's still on the contract. He'll be with the Dodgers. That boy's not leaving the Dodgers anymore. International arms, please, and Young. I mean, I have not seen the Cubs dip their toe too much in the international market. I know they're looking at one of the starting pitchers from Japan, and he's supposed to be one of the main targets for the Chicago Cubs. But I don't want to get into that yet, just because that's not really being talked about too much. Let's see. Israel says, "I want to see a talented pitcher like Garrett Crochet on the Cubs." That price would be a king's ransom, and I don't think the Cubs have enough or would do enough. And I don't think it'll benefit either team, really, to be honest with you. Can we get a pitcher from Baltimore? Again, high asking price. You're asking an organization that sucked for 10 years and rebuilt themselves from the ashes to get where they're at, and they're not going to give up talent for nothing. Can we get a player from Toronto? You could have got Vladdy Guerrero. They dropped the ball on that during the trade deadline. You could have got your big bat in Vlad Guerrero. I don't know what happened there. I don't.
I mean, maybe they still find something. Like I
I
said,
mean, right? We
whatever
still have time.
happens, right? Whatever happens this offseason, whether it be free agents or trade, they need to get a big bat. If it's Vlad Guerrero, fucking amazing. I would hit the roof if it was Vlad Guerrero because I just
Right.
I like my big target is Juan Soto, right? But if you get a guy like Vlad Guerrero, that like to me, I didn't think he was touchable. You know what I mean? I didn't think he was acquirable. So that's something that's like, whoa, you got a guy with power who could hit for contact. I mean, he could do it all. He's like his dad almost. Like he has that great back control and eye. He could hit anything anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, remember Vlad off the ground? Like he'd be picking shit off the ground. It didn't matter where the ball was.
Yeah.
15 feet inside. Vlad's putting it over the left field wall. Like it didn't matter. So yeah.
Tomoyuki Sugano is predicted to sign with the Chicago Cubs in free agency. So that's the pitcher that we're talking about. I think that's it. Could be sure.
I'm sure Shota and Seiya have been putting in the good words. I know Seiya has nothing but good stuff to say about Chicago, and Shota has definitely been, you know, acclimating himself to the city and the culture and stuff in America. Like you see him, he's hilarious when he does, you know, when we do see him, you know, out and about. So yeah, I mean, I would love to have another Japanese pitcher of the same type of ilk as Shota, if he has that same type of approach. Go ahead.
No, I got the name wrong. It was Shinosuke Ogasawa. Sure, we'll go with that.
It's all right. I wouldn't even have tried.
Yeah, 9 seasons with the Dragons, 3.6 ERA, over 1,000 innings pitch with a 2.9 ERA in 144 earnings in this past year, but over his career, 3.6.
Velocity? Yeah,
it doesn't say anything right now. It doesn't say but he has a low strikeout rate, so he pitches the contact.
Okay.
Good defense can help with that. That's not a problem.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Cubs have a good defense. You know, can it be better? Absolutely, it can be better. You know, I think the outfield, now that we have Pete Crow in there settled, I think Pete Crow's ready to take off. I think Pete Crow might become a star. Like the way he was responding after he got got brought back up after being sent down. You know, you heard the story of the guy throwing at him in the minors. You know, a guy that was in the majors for a long time. I forgot his name, and then he cranks one, and then after that, he gets called back up, and Pete Crow was having a hell of a time with the bat. You know, he was doing his thing with the bat, and not to mention, like I said, the defense doesn't ever leave with him because he could fucking run like a deer, and he has a great fucking arm. He has a cannon for an arm. So you have a guy in Pete Crow that could be a potential 5-tool guy. I mean, like he could be that good for you, depending on how, you know, he obviously develops. But the way he was showing, I was like, damn, Pete Crow, like this is like blockbuster. This is like top end talent shit that he was doing at the end of that season. At the end of the season, regardless of how the Cubs finished or not, he was able to do his thing. And I think that the more time he gets, now he's settled in year 2, I think he could really be able to take off. Hopefully he doesn't have, you know, that sophomore slump or whatever. But I think Pete Crow's a guy that you should keep an eye on for really taking a jump as far as his development is concerned.
Before we close out with the Cubs, I want to name 5 prospects that the Cubs have. Matt Shaw, Owen Casey, Cade Horton, Moises Ballesteros, and James Tirantos. Out of those 5, which one makes an impact next year?
Horton, if they bring him up. We talk about adding pitching. If this guy's the guy that they've been talking about, I mean, they've been talking about him as you know, a guy that's going to help the ball club, the big ball club. So let's see if he's the one. I would expect him to be with the ball club, the big club next season. Whether it be, I don't know whether, you know, with the contracts and shit like that and how they want to control everybody and Major League Baseball, who I don't know what his contract is right now. Not going to pretend to know it, but for me, he's been the name that keeps coming up. Cade Horton. Alcantara also. Alcantara is a guy that I feel
He's number
like
6. Yep.
Yeah, I feel like he is a guy also, but it's like, where does he fit? Where does Alcantara fit? Exactly. Where does he fit with the Major League Ball Club? So Alcantara to me might be a trade piece that can get you another arm. So for me looking at it, I'm like Cade Horton. Like, you don't trade pitching, especially if you're talking about pitching that you developed and you took the time to develop. You got to see what that guy has. So if he's been anything worth what you think he's worth, he has to come up and make an impact.
Yeah, and like you say, you don't trade pitching that you developed. Hello, White Sox.
Did I say that? I'm sorry, Jose. My bad. I forgot. I
know for a fact you didn't do that on purpose. I know for a fact you didn't do it on purpose. Kevin Alcantara is the number 6 prospect. He's an outfielder. He's played. Yeah. He's on an MLB roster at the moment. 22. He stands 6'6", 188 pounds. If this kid puts on some weight, he's 6'6". Can you imagine if he starts being Judge-like?
Man, I mean, that's kind of the.
That's idea, always the thing. Right? They're prospects, right? They're suspect. They're prospects.
Right. I mean, he can hit a ton. He can hit a ton. But I would like to see him add more weight. Obviously.
Yeah.
We'll see. Like I said, that's why I said he. To me, you have a team that's on the cusp of, depending on what you add, it's ready to win now. Kevin Alcantara is a guy that, you could bring him up, and I could see him helping the ball club as a bench piece right now. But he could end up being a guy that gets traded and helps you win, but ends up and I hate to say it, but ends up being somebody else, somebody somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of what I see. Like a Gleyber Torres.
Yeah.
Right? You didn't want to trade Gleyber Torres, but you had to fucking trade Gleyber Torres because otherwise you're not getting Chapman. So it's kind of like I don't want to say that that's what he's going to end up being, but right now, looking at how the outfield is, looking at how Pete Crow has been playing,
you're log jammed.
You're log jammed. Where are you going to put him other than the bench, sitting there? Maybe getting a few at bats. If he, will you put him at DH? I mean, unless he's going to be able to hit the ball out of the ballpark time and time again, you don't know that because he hasn't been with the major league club enough to see major league pitching. So my thing about Alcantara is I think he has a lot of talent. I think his talent's going to flourish somewhere else.
Yeah, I agree that might be the case. I mean, your major prospect that you're going to trade. In the past 3 years, he got 15, 13, and 14 home runs before he had his cup of coffee with the Cubs. He batted 100 in 10 at-bats. I mean, that's not even a sample size to be even mentioning. I know Israel's saying, can you trade him to the Bulls? Because if you can play... Thanks, Dennis. Thanks for tuning in.
Play guard. Can he play
guard for the Chicago Bulls? Because Lonzo Ball's about to go down again.
Oh, God. Actually, I'm happy for Lonzo being out there. I'm glad he's back. But let's just be careful with Lonzo right now. Like, it's not too much. It's not too just. It's ease ourselves into it, Lonzo. Ease ourselves into it. Thanks, Dennis.
Yeah, let's switch over to not so happy news on the South Side. Obviously, it's a different story. They're coming off one of the worst historical seasons of all time. Does not mention the record, 41 and 121. But now they have a manager search. They're actively searching for their next manager with names like Will Venable, Phil Nevin, Daniel Descalso as emerging candidates. Venable, in particular, with strong connection to Chicago. He was on the Cubs coaching staff. Very recently, the decision has been critical, and they're trying to develop young talent. So you're looking for this manager that's going to be a stopgap for this rebuild. Again, another Ricky Renteria, who's going to develop the kids, put in a structure, who's going to do what they're doing from top to bottom. I don't know what Chris Getz is doing. What's his plan? What direction he's going? Because we do not know. This guy has no track record. And if you saw what happened to him at the trade deadline where he got fleeced in every single one of those trades, it does not look good for the White Sox. Okay, so when they're talking about trade Crochet, no, do not trade an electric arm like that. But you can rebuild your team. You know what you can do? You can draft better. You can sign free agents better and put a team around him and Lou Bob. If you want to suck for the next 10 years, then trade them. You're going to get fleeced. You're going to get another 15 prospects that are 18 that are not going to do anything. And I know Ivan's jumping at the prospect of all this crap, but I don't know what to think of the White Sox. I don't think I've even worn any White Sox stuff since the playoffs, just because it's once the World Series is over, it's scary what's going to happen to the White Sox as far as the team, because they're not going to sign any major ball players. They've already said that they're not going to be active in free agency on the top tier. Obviously, they're not bringing back Yohan Moncada. All right, we had enough bachata videos and him bachata on his way out of the clubhouse.
That was the beginning of the end. That was
definitely the beginning of the end. Right, when you got bullpen players falling asleep back there, players fighting. Pretty much everyone they had on their 2020 season roster is gone or out of baseball. It's the free fall of the window that should have been. That was Han's baby. That was railroaded by Jerry Reinsdorf and the Goon Squad. It's been so horrible for this team. Ivan, go ahead. Sure, I know you have something to say.
Yes, play the song.
Hold on. You want me to play the song? All right, I'll play the song.
White Sox, go, White Sox. Let's go.
Yeah, right into the toilet.
You know, when you mention Crochet and Lou Bob, you know what it reminded me of? And I'm going to take us back. Space Jam. There was a scene where, like, the Danny DeVito's character, the boss monster, like that boss alien, is like, "This is what you're gonna do, Michael. Like, you're gonna be a slave on fucking on our planet, and you're just gonna fucking dunk and do all this, and you're gonna lose all the time." And he got him shackled and shit, and he's like, "That's all you're gonna do is lose to all of our like." That's how I feel that they are having Lou Bob and Crochet. All you're gonna do is perform and lose. That's what you're gonna do, and they're gonna love it. Like, that's you gotta be able to let these guys go, man. Like, they gotta find their freedom somewhere. Like, God, like, I mean, I don't see a way out right now. Like, obviously there can be a way out, but man, if Chris Getz continues this approach, you're going to have to the fan base is going to have to revolt and really seriously clamor for fucking ownership change, because we all know who it is, bro. We all know who it is. Jerry threatening to fucking sell the team to Dave Stewart and go to Nashville. Fuck, he does this shit all the time. Jerry is a he's a good manipulator. He's a good con man sometimes when he wants to be. I'm not saying he's a con man, but he could put on a good con. You know what I'm saying? He could bullshit with the fucking best of them. And Jerry Reinsdorf right now thinks that he's the Jerry Reinsdorf that just won 6 championships with the Bulls. Like, he has Chicago in the palm of his hand. Jerry. Yeah, it's serious. Jerry, wake fucking up. That time is gone. 2005 was a miracle, and it was awesome for the White Sox. But What happened? What happened? You continue to manipulate, Jerry. You and your crony. Kenny, you lost your best manager of your fucking the franchise history, pretty much. I would say of franchise history.
Yeah.
If we want to go recent, if you want to go, old history, I guess we could go that far. But in recent history, Ozzie Guillen is your best manager ever. Yeah. Like, since you took over, was your best fucking manager. You could, whatever you want to say about the 90s, whatever. He won, and he won consistently until a certain point, right? Until a certain point where he couldn't handle the fucking manipulation and the constant micromanaging and the
Of,
constant
of Kenny.
of
Yeah.
Kenny and Jerry, pretty much, because Kenny
Yeah.
is Jerry. Jerry
Right.
is Kenny. They're one and the same. So, to wrap up this rant, the guy is full of himself. He always has been. He always had mentioned the White Sox as his baby. He would fucking trade the 6 championships for one of the World Series for the White Sox. The guy is full of himself because he thinks himself, he fancies himself a baseball savant. But look at his fucking clubs. Look at his clubs. Besides one blip year, look at his clubs. They don't win. They don't win.
They don't win just because of his old thinking of the Brooklyn Dodgers and I want these types of gritty players. No, gritty small little players do not get the job done. All right, just simple as that. That doesn't. What was it? They were the grinders back in the day, and the good guys wear black. And
I'm surprised he hasn't retired Scott Pasednik's jersey. You know what I'm saying? I'm shocked Scott Pasednik doesn't have a fucking statue outside of or inside of the whatever the fuck they want to call it now.
He's got a chair now. He's got a chair. It's the only blue chair in the stadium. Yeah, and where he hit the home run in the World Series.
And it's not that I hate Scott Pasednik. I think it's not me coming at Scott Pasednik. It's the fact that Jerry thinks that he's the smartest baseball man alive. He thinks that he's God's gift to baseball. I truly believe this, that he thinks he's God's gift to baseball, and his decisions are going to lead the White Sox to victories. Because because that's the same way Jerry Krause was running the Bulls. They were running the Bulls the same fucking way. That's why the Bulls ended up sucking for years. They said the same fucking thing. They do the same shit. It's the same bullshit. They don't realize that players win the fucking games for them. They think it's their thoughts and their ideas that win the fucking games. Foolish.
Yeah. They are. They are very much are, and they have to understand that you have to put your systems in place. You have to put these players in position to win, right? You can't do that. You Jerry can't do that. Kenny couldn't do that. Kenny fell into that. Because Jerry hired Ozzie, not Kenny. That was that was a nepotism hire that ended up working out for the White Sox. That gave them the perfect storm, which was called 2005. That was the perfect story. They ran it wire to wire, 4 complete games, and Mark Burley's drunk pitching. It was the perfect storm for the White Sox. But what have you done for me lately? We cannot continue to hang our hat on 2005. 20 years ago next year, and you're gonna have a crappy team celebrating the 2005 White Sox next year and bringing all the old faces, and hey, we're gonna have new bobbleheads, and there's gonna be a slushy instead of a milkshake. It's all Ringling Brothers. Let's put on a show and don't look behind the curtain where the old man is moving all the levers, and if you don't understand what I'm saying by the levers, he has the owners in his back pocket. He had the commissioner in his back pocket for such a long time, and he manipulated a strike when his team was one of the best teams, but he didn't want to start paying players. So what did he do? We're gonna lock them out. We're gonna do a strike, and I guarantee you that's coming up pretty soon. There's gonna be another dispute because these players are getting paid hundreds of millions.
Too much.
Too much, in my opinion. I really do.
A lot of them don't meet that type
expectation.
Of standard. Yeah, exactly.
How much they're getting paid is the evaluation of an NFL team.
Yeah, I'm still giving Juan Soto the world, though.
So if you haven't been caught up with the news, Jerry Reinsdorf is been trying to get the 78 over there in the South Loop, and he wants the public to pay for it when he still hasn't paid. Over here at U.S. Cellular or Guaranteed Rate or whatever you want to call it nowadays, he still hasn't paid off that, and he wants the new ballpark. Yes, it looks spectacular. It would be a beautiful place for a ballpark, You can drive the water taxi right up to there and get off. There's train stations. You can drive there. There will not be parking. There will not be tailgating. That's the only difference, right? But the problem is that Jerry wants to make money just for Jerry and doesn't want to reinvest and let the community get a little piece of it as well. And that's one of the main stops right there. He also wants the taxpayers to pay for it. No, you've got money. You've got tons of money. You bought a bunch of real estate around the United Center. You've got tons of money. I don't want to hear it. So it's as simple as that. It's not going to happen. So he's trying to, play chicken with the mayor, saying, well, then I'm going to sell it to this people that want to move a team to Nashville in the Dave Stewart conglomerate over there. But they haven't been able to do that. They weren't able to get the Oakland A's. They were trying to get a team in Vegas.
They'll get a team. The Nashville team will happen. I truly believe that. But I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen by bringing the Sox over there.
No, they're coming through expansion. They're going to get their own team.
Exactly.
There's no reason for the Chicago White Sox to move down there. We have a historical franchise. Yes, losing right now, historical franchise. But at the same time, it's a historical franchise. It's one of the first franchises that when MLB started, it's one of the originals. So you're not going to lose that. Here's the issue is that this man needs to get out of the way. If you're not an owner that is trying to win, the commissioner needs to step on this guy's neck and say, you know what? Your time is done. Sell this team. Pirates owner, same thing. You don't want to win? Bring in a different owner. Cash out your chips. Your time is done. We want to make this league competitive so that people watch. The reason people don't watch is because of the same exact thing. You make your money, you drop all the players, and you go back to losing and collecting money. Tampa Bay, the Marlins, Kansas City, Pittsburgh, Arizona does that. Like who else is on that list of crappy? The Oakland A's.
Mm-hmm.
The team, the owner doesn't want to spend any money. Then why are you? It's not fair to the fans, not fair to the city. It really isn't. So, Jerry, bon voyage. See you later. Go to Margaritaville and enjoy that. But
show them that one World Series ring that you got. Go down to Florida, show off that World Series ring that you got. You know what I'm saying? Like, just don't run this franchise into the ground because you feel like you're that one. That you feel like you're going to be the reason why they come out of this, funk that they're in. That this perpetual it opened up again. You got the door swinging.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I don't want you to lean back and bow. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Oh man.
Right. Well, yeah, it's just Jerry for the good of everybody else. If you're not gonna fucking win, if you're not gonna, go out and get the top end guys, sell the team. Let somebody with money that they want to spend run the team. It's better for everybody.
Who can we sell this to?
I'm sure there's going to be, dude, I'm telling you, if they go legit on the market, I'm sure there will be people, especially if they get like a group, you get a big group in there.
Yeah.
You can actually work out. And if they really wanted to move and the 78 was something, I think the 78 would be perfect, but not for Jerry because Jerry's going to ruin it. Like Jerry's going to find a way to ruin it. So it's like, that would be perfect. That would be a perfect spot for a new ownership group because they're going to expand. They're going to make the river something else. They're going to add, there'll be additions everywhere. You know what I'm saying? With Jerry, I feel like it's going to be, mini Jerry world. And it's going to be like it was. Like there's going to be no real, obviously you said the tailgating will be gone, but there's going to be no like restaurants, no place to hang out. It's going to be like, boom, here's the stadium. Come in, get the fuck out. Like that's kind of how I feel it would be with a nice view.
I know they don't own a guaranteed rate or whatever kind. It's owned by the state. Why not just buy that from the state? I'm pretty sure they'll get it for cheap, right? I mean, it'll be cheaper than the 78 and rebuild on that location and build, your own little, Wrigleyville there. You
I'm
have
saying
the
that,
space.
dude. A Sox, the Sox need a Wrigleyville. They need that. Like they
They can
need
make it their
that
own.
hub.
Yeah.
Exactly. They need that type of, you know, like feel, like family, feel like it's you're welcomed at the friendly confines. Not show up to the Sox game, make sure you get in, get out. The Sox may win, they may lose, but thank you for paying. Like you may or may not have a good time. At Wrigley, I feel like you're gonna have a good time, regardless, because if and I hate to say it, but win or lose, you're gonna go have fun right outside. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna go hang out with buddies. You're gonna go get some food right after.
Mm.
You're gonna be able to take everything in. Maybe catch another game at the bar. With the White Sox, you got to get the fuck out of there because it's
Yeah,
like there's nowhere to go. You
there's
have to
two
hop
bars.
there's two bars. You have
There's
to
two
hop
bars.
on the red line. If you want to go to another bar, you got to walk your ass all the way down, down the street
Yeah.
for a minute. So it's like it's not convenient for the fan whatsoever.
No, not at all. Not at all. So, I mean, the hope is that he sells to maybe Mark Cuban. Can we hit up Mark Cuban? You got his number?
I don't.
You know what? Guess who stopped Mark Cuban from buying up the last major league team? It was Jerry.
Jerry.
He didn't want him in there because he doesn't want him spending money. Because Mark Cuban is a player's owner. He's going to spend whatever it takes for the team to win. And you saw that with the Dallas Mavericks, and that's why he got his championship. And that's why they all love him, because he's a player's owner. That's exactly what we need, an owner that is invested in baseball, that loves baseball. All right, lastly, before we take a quick break, I wanted to talk about the new commissioner. It was having a press conference and was talking about all these MLB teams losing their RSNs, their regional sports companies. So they're losing money now. And now, apparently, because MLB has to pick up the slack, they want to talk about putting all the stuff in a national channel, like the MLB channel, the MLB app, without restrictions. You don't say. If I'm paying for the MLB app, why can't I just watch my game on the MLB app? Why am I getting blacked out? Why do I have to watch on the RSN? Who cares? If I've already paid you, MLB, let me watch whoever the hell I want to watch. People
It's
in
your
Iowa,
product. It's your product. It's not
people
the
in Iowa were
region's
screwed.
product.
Right.
Yeah.
People in Iowa were so screwed because they're next to Kansas City, they're by the Cubs, they're by Minnesota, they're by everybody, and they couldn't watch anything because it's all blacked out. So now he's like, well, I think people should be able to watch it. Well, you know why? Because the pockets are hurting. That's why. MLB is so just backwards instead of being so forward and inviting the youth, inviting technology into the game to be able to make it modern. And I just don't understand why we're stuck in these traditions that limit us from growing the game.
I don't know. Just old mentality, and it should be a good blend of old and new, right?
Right.
I think the old, the experience should definitely, have a say, but the new ideas and new technology should also be considered, heavily, especially with what we've been seeing with some of these umpires, man, like old or new. Some of them are just fucking bad, bro. Like some of them are just like, I don't know what your focus is on, but it's just not on baseball or the pitch at times. So I think the idea of bringing in new technology, new thoughts, new ideas is to the benefit of Major League Baseball. Now we have to get people like Jerry and all these, bitter, I guess, hard-headed owners that don't want to change to, move a little bit. I don't know what it's going to take.
Well, we all know that the MLB is all about the good old boys club, so that's probably one of the biggest issues there. Until you get new blood in, maybe some of these players from other organizations start buying, like your Patrick Mahomes, who was a minority owner for the Royals. When you have that kind of influx of generational money from these players who are getting paid generational means, that's when stuff will change, because you'll have an influx of youth and technology being in there, and like, why are we not doing it the right way? There's been stories, and I know I want to get into this too much, but like stories of former White Sox players who are on other teams and saying, wow, look at this. We have a plane with all these amenities. Look at this. We have all these analytics. Look at this. We have iPads with all this cool stuff on it that teaches us what we're doing wrong in our body mechanics.
When they started talking about the plane, I remember I think we were discussing it. When they started talking about who was it, Jake Peavy that was talking about how way back the franchise is as far as amenities to your players and taking care. Like the way he described it reminded me of a Major League. Remember when they're like, "Oh, we get the 747." No, you got this, and it's like the propellered. You know what I'm saying? Like they're gonna throw into a thunderstorm and the plane's shaking. Yeah. You had Richie Valens and Buddy Holly took that plane to get to where, God rest their souls, but get them where they're going. But like that's how ridiculous. Like it's a slap in the face to professional athletes with a billionaire owner who's not willing to even give you the littlest of the amenities. You have to be a grinder. You have no. You get no ice if you're bruised. You got good guys were, but you got to be a bad guy. Like you got to be a tough guy. Like,
dirt on it.
Yeah, where's Hawk when you need him? Like fuck. Like the guy's arm is about to fall off, Jerry. We need maybe a nice ice bath would be nice, good for him. But like, regardless of that, I know I'm bitching a little bit, but
no, you're fine.
That's the type of shit. That's the type of shit that
when your main sponsor is United, bro. Your main sponsor is United Airlines. I'm pretty sure they can loan you a plane, a newer one, within the last 5 years. That has TVs and Wi-Fi. They probably don't even have Wi-Fi. Here's an iPod.
Yeah, you got to use your hotspot everywhere.
Yeah. All right. Me and I are going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back with our Madhouse on Madison report after a word from our sponsors.
Hey, true Chicago sports fans, show off your Chicago pride with some fresh clothes from Grit Clothing Company. At Grit Clothing, they create that simple yet classic style that represents that Chicago Southside lifestyle. From t-shirts to hoodies, hats to glassware, they've got you covered. Grit has everything you need to represent your Chicago pride, so do it right now. Check out gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15.
TrueFan15.
For 15% off your entire order. Let me say it again. That's gritclothingco.com and use the promo code TrueFan15 for 15% off of your entire order.
What up? It's Martin Moreno, and you are listening to True Chicago Sports Fans Podcast.
Welcome back to the TCSF podcast with Big Z in the house. We got Ivan the Bearable from the Tape Never Lies Network, and also a member of the 606 Media with his show that'll be back on the air very, very soon. Local Sports with Ivan. Right now, let's talk about our team on Madison who's gearing up, and it's the Chicago Bulls, another Jerry Reinsdorf entity, even though his son runs it. The biggest headline so far is that Lonzo Ball is back, the highly anticipated return to action after missing 2 years due to multiple knee surgeries. Lonzo finally took the court during the Bulls preseason game against Minnesota. He made an immediate impact, hitting a three-pointer after checking in, and received a standing ovation from the Chicago crowd. That's right. We love our players here. He returns. He makes a huge difference in the Bulls offense. And unfortunately, he no longer has the Bull offense that he's used to with DeMar DeRozan. But there's a lot of new players on this team, and a lot of different aspects to it. one of the guys that made the roster is a Talon Horton Tucker, who secured a final spot on the roster, who's been playing pretty good in the preseason. Looks to make an impact on the bench. But are you excited about Bulls basketball with Giddey and Lonzo Ball and Levine and all these misfits?
No. What do you want me to tell you? No, I'm not. I'm not excited about Bulls basketball. I mean, Lonzo coming back, yeah, that was dope. Like Lonzo, I'll give Lonzo credit. Hold on one second.
There you go.
There you go. I'll give him credit. I never thought he was going to be back. Truthfully, I didn't think Lonzo was going to be back on the court the way that they were talking about his knee and the way that it the setback and everything like that. So Lonzo, all the credit in the world. Good to see him on the court. Good to see that he was able to do some things out there. Happy for him. As far as the team, like as a whole, no, man. I show me something, man. I don't like. What do I got to be excited about? Like, what do I have to be excited? Show me a reason to be excited, and I'll get excited. Because
I think your excitement's coming from Kobe White. That's going to be your excitement coming from Kobe White and how he's going to show. That's pretty much about it because there's no faith in Lonzo Ball because of his knee, his health issues. You have Patrick Williams, who's been hurt, who's supposed to be the next what's his name that's always hurt in LA with the big hands. He's hurt again. Jesus, I'm so bad with names. Anyways, I'm sorry.
Anthony Davis.
No, with the Clippers.
Oh, with the Clippers. You're talking about Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, he's supposed to be the next Kawhi Leonard with his big old hands. They made a big deal about his big old hands, and he should be the next Leonard over there. Well, yeah, he is the next Leonard. He spends a lot of time on the injured list. And, he's supposed to show up. The problem is that the Bulls and the White Sox have the same issue. A bunch of misfits, a bunch of broken toys together, and then they leave here and they shine. Your Tyson Chandler, your Larry Marketing, they leave here and then they start shining because our organizations is just crap. Again, like I said, Zach LaVine was supposed to be traded to Detroit, and he's like, that's not happening. I have a knee injury. Now I'm going to go take this surgery, and you can't trade me. So I expect him to be traded. How much of the Bulls are going to pay for that contract to be traded is yet to be seen. It's really going to depend if another team has a major injury to have a necessity for a scorer. Josh Giddey is going to be nice. Io is going to have another step up in production. I really think so. Matas Bazulis, we'll see what the rookie. They'll see what that comes up to being fruitful. But there's not a lot to be excited for. It's going to be a rebuild year.
It's always a rebuild year, dog. Like it's always a fucking rebuild year. I'm tired of this. I'm tired, and I'm tired of having to rant about the Bulls. Like I would just want to talk about how good, like the basketball. I want to talk about the basketball. I want to talk about them succeeding. I want to talk about the team, finding a way to beat some of these bigger names, out there in the NBA. And it's hard for me to get excited when each year you're selling us the same shit. It's just like the White Sox. It's just like the Sox. You're selling us the same shit. It's just like Jed's been doing with the Cubs for the past couple of years. You're selling us the same bullshit, and we're getting this. You're selling us one thing, and we're getting the same bullshit product that we got the year before. It's like Madden nowadays. You're just slapping a new year on, and it's the same fucking product.
It's the same game. It's an iPhone.
Same game. It's an iPhone. It's an iPhone. That's what it is. That's what it is, and that's partially why I don't have any type of real, excitement or enthusiasm about this Bull season. Now, I will be watching games, if I can, wherever.
You can over the air on CHSN.
Yeah, if I could. I gotta go get an antenna now.
You don't have rabbit ears?
I gotta go find the rabbit ears. But yeah, until they show me that they can go out there, play as a team, there's no drama with Zach, there's no issues. I don't think Billy Donovan's the issue, but I don't think Billy Donovan's been given. I don't think he's been given the talent that he deserves to actually. Same thing with it's like same thing with the Cubs. Like give the guy the talent, and I'm sure he's going to get them over the top. But
well, Zach Levine is a cancer. Him and Billy Donovan do not get along. They've been at odds since they've gotten there.
Right,
and that's the problem.
And I don't know how you could fix it. So, like, to me, I don't think it's a coach's issue. I don't think it's Billy's Donovan's problem. I think it's the organization's issue and not getting players that are going to. And he inherited Zach Levine. Let's be real. He inherited Zach Levine, but you're not getting the players that are fitting the mold. Like I feel like Kobe's doing a great job. Kobe's developing, but where's Pat Will? Where's where's all these other guys that we need to step up? And again, I just don't see any reason to be super excited until they show me a reason to be super excited.
What if they get on a hot start? They got, their starting lineup is going to be Josh Giddey, Kobe White, Zach Levine, Patrick Williams, and Nikolai Vucevic. That's their starting lineup. And again, you can put Buzelis. I've had a Patrick Williams because we don't know if he's going to be on minute restriction, if he's 100%. We have no idea. But again, we know that Kobe's going to get his. He's going to get his 18. He can pop off for 30, 40, 50 if he wanted to, if he gets hot. The problem is Zach Levine, the ball sticks to his hand. He doesn't move without the ball. And if he doesn't have the ball, he just pops in the corner.
I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with my hands. I don't know what to do with my hands. I have the ball.
And that's a problem. And they also don't use Vooch correctly. Vooch is a double-double machine. He can get you 15 boards and 15 points very easily every single game if you use them correctly. They go to him for the first scripted 8 plays, and then they forget about him. And I just don't understand. And I understand Vooch, and I've bitched about it multiple episodes where Vooch disappears when there's a big man in there, when there's an actual big man that can play, because he can't guard them. He can't shuffle his feet. He shies away from contact. That's not the guy we need, especially, down the stretch. We need somebody that's going to have, heart, muscle, and hustle, like, our man says over there on the broadcast. But I really think that, we'll have some progression with Ayo, with Giddey, with Buzelis and Kobe. But Patrick Williams, Vucevic, Levine, and Ball, trade them all. Trade them all as fast as you can.
I need shooting. I don't know if you're going to be able to trade Ball for a lot, but the more shooters, the better. I just like, again, adding Giddey, Bulis. I would like to see him, like, being a Chicago kid. I'm going to root for him, obviously. Like, I hope he becomes something, just a guy that we, end up loving. You know what I'm saying? A guy that makes an impact night in, night out. Somebody who's here for a while. But it's hard to be excited about the entire product. We could be excited about individual guys, but the product as a whole, from what you've shown us, from what we've thought we were going to get, no, man. Show me. You're gonna have to show me now. Like we're pretend like we're in Missouri. Show me now. Like that's what you're gonna have to do, because there's no way I'm gonna go ahead and invest emotion into a team that's going to be the same, or that's going to break down, or that's going to have a guy that doesn't want to fucking play for the coach, or go, and then you could see it. You could literally see the breakdown game in and game out of how they fall apart. And I've seen it the past couple of seasons trying to invest in the Bulls, and you're like, fuck. Like when the breakdown's going to happen, when they're going to falter, when they're not in the game. I don't want that anymore. I don't want to watch basketball like that anymore in Chicago.
Yeah, well, I'm going to watch it because I'm a glutton for punishment, and I love my Bulls, and I know they're going to suck. But we got to talk about it on the show because that brings us content. Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on the Blackhawks? I know we're not big, hockey puck fans over here. I mean, I love watching them, but I can't break them down. But I think they have a lot of youth, and I think the problem was last year was not so much the goalie, even though the goalie kind of sucked, but the defense was an issue. They didn't have great defensive players, even though they had good offense. They were losing 6-5 a lot of these games, and they're putting up points. They could not continue to outscore these teams because they had no defense. I don't know the additions that they made are going to be impactful this season. I know we're still rebuilding, but at the same time, it would be exciting if these Blackhawks actually start making a run.
I would love to see it. Like you said, they drafted defensive guys. They've been trying to focus on that because that's obviously they've been trying to get bigger. Definitely get bigger on that side, on the defensive side. But like for me, you got a talent in Bedard. You have some guys that are put around him. You got Teravainen back. You have Foligno Foligno that's a crucial veteran piece. You have guys that are around Bertuzzi. You have people that have been there, done that around this kid. So in my eyes, let him grow. Don't have a watch the Blackhawks. I think the Blackhawks will be exciting. I think you should have some expectations for the Hawks, but don't have over crazy expectations for the Hawks. I think the Hawks are in this growing period. I think they're in the right place, right where they need to be in this type of upward transition because now you have players. You're drafting. I feel like you're drafting well. You've been drafting at the top of the draft for a while. I feel like their philosophy is going to gain some traction. They just need to get more players. They just need to continue to draft well, continue to develop their young talent, and then when it comes time, then you could go a big free agent deal if there's one to be out there. You know what I'm saying? But as of right now, I just think that they're in this transition period where it's like, hey, we're trying to find out who we are. We have young talent. We have veteran talent. Let's see what these young guys can do when we put them next to professional hockey players. Because I really feel like they want to same as the Cubs Sox farm system. That farm system thing where they're bringing up guys constantly. They're developing guys. They're not having to go out and spend big money because their development is good. So, but again, we'll see. Just be excited. I would be excited. You got a guy that could be a generational player. Legit, fucking one of the best players of all time again. And we just came off of having guys like Kane and Taves and Duncan Keith and guys like that were amazing hockey players.
Yeah.
And we got another one. We got another guy, and we could have a few more guys here. Just kind of enjoy the ride right now, I would say, for Blackhawks fans.
Yeah, definitely agree with you. The problem is that those tickets are still expensive, even though they don't have a winning team. That shows you how much of a demand there is to watch the Chicago Blackhawks at the UC, because they are exciting to watch. They're exciting to watch when you're seeing generational talent like that, and you're at the bottom floor watching them grow as a team. It does remind you of Kane and Taves and how they grew up, and how the Blackhawks started supplementing the team with Bufflin and Keith and Sharp and everybody else that was added to the teams to help them out. So it's exciting to see. I'm excited to see them on free TV because apparently that's the only way you're going to be able to watch them, because they're not on Hulu, they're not on YouTube, they're not on Xfinity. Until that gets done, you can watch them free, and it'll be exciting. So Ivan, tell our listeners and watchers where they can find you on social so they can argue with you.
Well, you could find me at Ivan_TTNL on X. I don't really go on there. But Instagram, you could DM me if you want, have any questions or anything like that. I'm usually on Facebook too. I'm like older, so I'm not like into like the TikToks and the I probably should, but I don't see a point. So you can pretty much just find me at all the older social media sites. But other than that, I'll be on The Tape Never Lies You can check us out on YouTube. You can become a patron at www.thetateneverlies.com. Big game this Sunday. I will be in DC for the game. Yeah. So it's going to be shout out to my guy Kerry Franklin for hooking it up, but it's going to be exciting, man. I hope Jaden Daniels plays and we get that matchup that we want.
Yeah, definitely. Can't wait to hear your pregame report. And again, follow him on YouTube for that pregame that he'll be live at. So live and on location, Ivan the Bearable. So we'll be waiting for that report. I can't wait for it. And you can find me at Big Z _66 Media Group. I'm pretty much all my handles. No discrepancy there. Well, everybody, thank you. That is it for today. Thank you, our fans, for listening, for watching. Thank you for sticking with us for 217 episodes. And a thank you to our sponsor, 606 Media, and True Chicago Sports Fans, and Grit Clothing Company. Thank you for the continued support. Again, you can find us at truechicagosportsfans@gmail.com if you want to send us an email about your stirring the pot or any sports subject matter that you want to argue. All right, for Ivan, I am Big Z, and we'll see you next time for episode 218. And until then, be good to each other for the love of sports.